Do you think that it would be a good look to dress like Colonel Sanders, like white suit, white hat? I don't know.
Are you going to do the hair and the facial? Are you going to do the facial hair? Like, all right, let me just say this before we get started. If you shave off like your beard, like the chops on the side, everything, you are like Colonel Sanders ready. If you dye that white, like if you just went white and then you've got the Colonel Sanders thing. If I saw you walk into I would show some respect. You had the white.
I think you should do it for Halloween.
A cane, and give me your best old Southern Colonel accent.
Yeah, you got the word boy in a lot, like Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be a little Foghorn Leghorn-ish. I'd have to ease into it before I got into all of my racist theories.
Sharper when you do those like amplifiers.
You got it.
Like well, little sharper on the. I would put hard R's.
The Colonel always uses a hard R.
Yeah,
but you got to drop the final R though. Like you got to be like, I'm gonna go down the street and get me a big old.
That's the name of my documentary.
Yeah, that's the name of the. Yeah, that's if we ever get canceled, that'll be the name of the docuseries. The final R.
The final R.
The hardest R.
Supposedly, Colonel Sanders wore that white suit. He came from the railroad, and somebody told me this story that, like, he was like the guy that like shoveled the coal into from the coal car into the burner of the steam locomotive, and he was like really fast at it. And he would his flex was that he could like do it so cleanly with this white suit on that like he wouldn't get dirty and covered in coal. That's where he got his look that carried on into his chicken empire thing.
Now that is a tall tale. That's a Paul Bunyan level
coal
story.
Is dusty as heck.
Somebody please correct me on that. Just somebody told me that story. The other Colonel Sanders story I know.
You're right. No, yeah, you're like 99% right. He his job was on there, but he did the guy who shovels the coal. That's the good job. Colonel Sanders had to scrape the coal ash from the steam engines, which has got to be the shit tier job.
That's good motivation. That's good backstory. I thought he was always in the.
I was told a tall tale about Colonel Sanders. I've never done any research to see if it was real, but it was the whole thing about when he and his wife divorced. She kept the original KFC secret recipe and started her own little restaurant there that's in Kentucky. I've been to it. It's more of a like sit down at a dinner table and they like serve you family style place, and it is not fast food. It's closer to fine dining than fast food.
I'm sure that the okay, there's no way that if it's only 11 herbs and spices that he would forget it. Like
23 is Coca-Cola, isn't it? No, that's Dr. Pepper.
Pepper. Yeah. 11 herbs and spices is the KFC way.
Yeah.
And so I would call
somebody told me their Instagram that they own, their corporate 12. Instagram only follows like 11 people named Herb or Spice.
Yeah, I saw that. They're like years ago, like someone posted a screenshot that like the KFC Twitter only followed 11 or followed the Spice Girls and like 6 guys named Herb.
Yeah, that was it. So my favorite Colonel Sanders story, old biker buddy of mine is from the same town in Kentucky where Colonel Sanders was from. And this is like years ago, 60s, back in the 60s or something. Anyway, there was this old house in town that for years had been a brothel, and supposedly everybody's granddad or whoever, either their first time, like their dad would take them down there to have their first time with a girl, or they'd save up, their friends would there and whatever. Anyway,
Avery.
A lot of men of the town all had their first time in this brothel, and the building had long since become something else, hair salon, apartments, whatever. And at some point it was going to get torn down, and they were raising money, some kind of historical society to preserve this house. And several people donated money, and that kind of raised some eyebrows and whatnot. And they came up like $50,000 short or a big amount short. And at the last minute, Colonel Sanders came in and gave them the money to save that house. Presumably that he had also had a special moment in that house back in the day, but
Yeah. He became a wild card at the end, and the KFC corporation had to cut him loose. He would go into the restaurants, start talking shit about how dirty they were and how bad the chicken tasted. He said he said their gravy tasted like paste glue. He'd go into like a random KFC and lose his shit. Can you imagine?
I like that. You need a passionate owner if you're going to maintain high quality chicken.
For a little while, KFC had a great ad campaign, and they would have a different colonel every commercial almost. Norm Macdonald, very good Colonel Sanders.
R.I.P. Yeah.
John Goodman had did a parody of
R.I.P.
it where he's kind of shitting on. He's like, Church's chicken hates the gays, but not here. The Colonel loves the gays. Hell, I might even be gay. Like, he's just like completely selling out. And then he cuts aside to the camera. He's like, hell, if I'm being honest, he drops the accent. I don't even give a shit. You're all just money mouths, eating and buying. And then it goes and goes back to the old timey music and the fun commercial. It's a really good parody. I like
that he's a real guy. Like Long John Silver, not a real guy. Captain
Silver,
not a real guy.
Captain
Chipotle,
Morgan.
not a guy.
Yeah, it's not a guy at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like
they're all not guys. Mine's just a little bit less.
The Chick-fil-A's, not real cows.
Yeah, remember Wendy from Wendy's?
Wendy was real. Wendy
was real, but then they used a hot actress to play Wendy because I think they did a limited run with the actual Wendy. And people are like, well, this reminds me I'm eating fast food. Like, you're overweight.
Oh, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
Actual Wendy's. A buddy of mine was from Columbia, South Carolina, where Dave Thomas was from. And let's see, I'm 50. Real Wendy's, I don't know, 5 or 10 years older than I would be because my friend was this age. According to him, growing up in school, everybody around there had these like crazy Wendy stories because she was like, kind of crazy rich girl. She's like that girl would get drunk and show up at your house and crash her Corvette into your fountain or something. Like she was this complete party girl, kind of train wreck. And that people had all these wild Wendy stories about real life Wendy out spending her dad's money on drugs and stuff. But
you got that square burger money burning a hole in your pocket. You didn't build the franchise, so you don't have the work ethic to maintain it. You're just partying.
I saw Dave Thomas testify in front of Congress. It was pretty cool. He was talking, I guess he was adopted, and he was talking about kids of parents and divorce and whatever. And they asked him that's the real Wendy. I asked Zach Pullo. Anyway, he just was like, I don't know what to do about kids from separate homes because they're going to play one dad against the mom and work and fire them against each other. It just seemed like a real moment. I like Dave Thomas.
Mm. Yeah.
I've never really been a big Wendy's guy.
No,
it's fine.
I remember when it was Dave Thomas in the commercials and the packaging was all yellow and red, and they were just introducing the spicy chicken sandwich, and it was like these guys are on top. They had the commercial. I think
they won the chicken.
They had a hockey commercial where the spicy chicken sandwich was like melting the hockey ice down. I think there's some hockey
chicken sandwich wars. Everyone thinks Chick-fil-A won. Everybody's wrong but me. It's Wendy's.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A did win handily, easily.
I covered this already.
No. We will relitigate this for the next 49 minutes if we have to, because it's so crazy that you think Wendy's won that. Even Wendy's doesn't think they won.
No, the fact that Chick-fil-A couldn't get canceled with all that anti-gay stuff coming out, and it wasn't like they tweeted something or said something insensitive. They send money to those countries that make homosexuality
have a blessed crime. Day, homo. They're giving you your bag.
And gay people were like, fuck it. That's some good ass chicken.
Dude, I don't care about bigotry when it comes to food. If there was a place called Stalin's Burritos and it was the absolute best, and it's like, welcome my friends to Stalin's Burritos. To partake in these burritos, you must give us Soviet salute and deny Holodomor genocide. I'd be like, it never happened. How's that one go? I don't actually know. Did that? It's not that one.
You're very good at accents.
What if there was? What if there was
Hitler's? You do one of these first?
I don't know. Where you hit your chest. I know that's where they pussy out in the old shows about Rome. They'll be like, "Huh." And I'll be like, that's not where they stopped. And you shouldn't have to stop in here because they didn't even know about this Hitler guy that was coming about. There was thousands years. But if there was if there was Hitler's donuts and they were the best donuts. It is a good thing I dropped out of art school and pursued my true passion of train scheduling and donuts. You'd go in and eat it, right? What do you have, a sweet tooth? You'd go to Hitler's Donuts.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
I don't think I would go to Hitler's Donuts. I'm gonna be
We'll
honest.
go to Subway on occasion, and that guy was a pedophile.
He didn't have anything to do with the making of the sandwiches or the
He
corporate
told me
structure.
about the existence of the sweet onion chicken teriyaki, and that's what kept me going back.
I've never had that sandwich.
It was the only decent one. It's probably not good anymore.
Yeah, I like the meatball sub.
Yeah, I guess it's not that. No, it's pretty bad, but it's not.
I go into Subway thinking this will be a slightly healthier meal, even though I know the bread is actually not bread because it's
give me a loaf of bread and
I actually order the meatball. It's like the worst thing on the menu for you. But when presented with a meatball sandwich, what are you going to say? No.
Yeah, give me the white double cheese bread, and then just put the lowest quality meat you have. And love it.
I was in the airport in India, and the only place to eat was a Subway. But, with religious reasons, they don't serve the same meats that we get at this Subway here. And I'm not lying. And I've eaten some weird stuff. I mean, I've had live silkworm caterpillars and whale and dog and horses and testicles and all kind of weird shit. That whatever cold cut combo I had was the worst thing I have ever put in my mouth. Like, I'm pretty cheap. Like, I mean, to get me to waste food is hard, but I really just couldn't finish it. I was like, this is not, it was like, it tasted like petroleum products somehow. Like it was, oh my God, it was awful.
Who do you think won the fast food chicken sandwich wars?
I mean, I don't know who was fighting at the time, but that one at Popeyes is pretty good.
Popeyes
was all breading.
Going on.
It's too much breading on the Popeyes one. I tried it, and it was like I was getting whole bites of breading before I was even approaching the chicken center of it.
Yeah, the first few months they made them extra crispy. They dialed it back a little bit, but Popeyes is good. I do like Chick-fil-A. I'm gonna have to vote with Taylor on that. Like the Wendy's one is just not there. I rolled through a town one time where a McDonald's was like the only thing to eat in the town. And I rolled through the drive-through, and I get like what seemed the least offensive thing, which was like a crispy chicken sandwich from McDonald's. And I get my drink and whatever, my fries. Of course, the fries have a half-life of like a minute, 15 seconds. So you got to eat your fries first. I'm like 5 miles from the place, and I get into the chicken sandwich, and I take a bite, and I kind of think about it for a second. I take another bite, and I'm like, I mean, it didn't taste bad, but I was like, what is this reminiscent of? And I was like, it was so bland and waxy. I was thinking like if Yankee Candle made a chicken scented candle and then you ate the candle, that's what this tastes like. Like it was just like chicken scented something on the bun, but it was not chicken. It was
that's the kind of candle that Kyle would like with his terrible candle taste. I can say it
talk smack while he's gone.
Yeah. Don't tell him he gets back.
But,
I didn't like the
there's a YouTube channel I follow. It's got a Fat Electrician. Have you ever watched him?
I think
no, I don't think so.
I thought
it's really funny. He mainly does like military history things, but he's like really funny. It's kind of like a drunk history. He's not drunk, but just he tells you like military history or like the history of the 1911 or some like funny, like seemingly unrelated events that came to cause the Cuban Missile Crisis or whatever. He really funny backstories. But every now and then he'll do like a breakdown of like Doritos or whatever. And he did one on Chick-fil-A and really did like a market assessment, like kind of comparing Chick-fil-A to McDonald's, for example, about, Chick-fil-A has like 11 things on their menu. They have chicken done 2 different ways. They're kind of open door customer service policy of like whatever you want, they just give it to you, compared to McDonald's, which had like 28 things on the menu and like 14 different burger combinations. And it broke it down into like how much stuff a McDonald's employee has to learn and not get wrong. And each avenue that those cause, like problems with people waiting in line to get, this one has 2 pieces of meat, it should have had 1, or this one had pickles, this one had sesame seed, this one didn't, about how like McDonald's and other fast food places complicate their staffing and people's wait time to get food by having more complicated menus, whereas Chick-fil-A, by streamlining that, basically gets people in and out faster. They're able to pay their employees better. They get better employees. The whole thing kind of goes uphill. He also broke it down about, like with, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, whatever, you get these like holding groups that come in, they own, 150 different stores and they never even see the places. Whereas Chick-fil-A like owns all of their stores. Like you can be an operator, and a friend of mine's wife actually is kind of the head of the people who like they vet people out. It's like 1 in 1,000 people even get approved to operate a Chick-fil-A, and you have to like start at the bottom, kind of like Waffle House. Like you got to like mop floors, work the fries. Like to even be an executive at Chick-fil-A, you have to have done every one of those jobs. And by the fact that you're not just some, and if you operate one, yeah, you might make 200 grand a year running a successful Chick-fil-A, but by their corporate model, even that guy mopping the floor, that girl on the milkshake machine could theoretically work her way up through that process and be a store owner. Therefore, their employees are more vested in working there than, somebody at a Wendy's where it's just owned by some group. You're never going to be the owner. You're just going to kind of work there. So fuck it. Anyway, he did a really interesting breakdown on like how Chick-fil-A is so successful. And more importantly, like scale, like size wise, I can't remember the breakdown with the numbers, but they're like the 5th or 6th most successful fast food chain, but they do it with less than 10% of the number of stores that McDonald's are. There's like, 40,000 McDonald's. But Chick-fil-A's, there's only like, 10,000 Chick-fil-A's or something. Anyhow, it was this pretty smart business model. And, politics aside, like they really have thought out their process pretty well that, which lets them have that kind of profitability. And, it's a good chicken sandwich. I will confess.
I looked into buying franchises at one point, and I was curious about it. A Wendy's, you can own a Wendy's. They're about $2 million. And the franchises are more expensive than you might guess, but a Wendy's about $2 billion to get going. A Chick-fil-A is like 300 grand. But the difference is you can't own a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A owns all those Chick-fil-A's. What you're doing for that 300 grand is you're buying a job, a pretty good job. You can only own one Chick-fil-A. You can own as many Wendy's or McDonald's, whatever as you want, but you can only own one Chick-fil-A. That's your job, and you work there. And I said own. I shouldn't have phrased it like that. You're buying a job. You work for this place, but you get the profits from it. And when it's time to sell it, you don't own it. You just leave that job. So it's a different it's a different way of doing it. But Chick-fil-A franchises, I guess they're nice if you're not rich already, because you can get it. Like 300 grand's a lot, but it's an amount that people can get to, right? A lot of homes are that much. Like you can get there, but 2 million.
And you would think a bank would be likely to sign on that one. It's, you know what I mean? I
didn't look at it through that lens, but
they can get their money back.
Yeah.
So, exactly.
But what stinks is when you're not building your own business. Like if
I
you
want
buy
In-N-Out. I'm not In-N-Out. Takeout. That place that I always talk about. There's when they cookout. Thank you.
Okay.
When a cookout comes into a new market, it's a lockdown situation. They need police officers there to handle the traffic. They do double, triple, quadruple lines at the beginning, like a theme park, and then they slowly break down to smaller lines. They're taking your order out in the parking lot. It's like the circus came to town.
It's wild.
And look, it's not the best food I've ever had, but it's a cool experience. They got like 30-something milkshakes, for example. They have one menu for milkshakes, and it's like, this is our milkshake menu. It's like, holy shit, I've never seen that before. And instead of just fries being sort of the default, and Burger King and McDonald's try to act like they got 8 different sides, but you know what they got. They got fries and onion rings, maybe. But they'll be like, yeah, you want a chicken quesadilla instead? Yeah, I do want a chicken quesadilla instead. Give me that instead of fries. They do ridiculous combos. It'll be like barbecue pork, a corn dog, and a quesadilla will be one of their combos. So those places are
super
nice.
Cheap. Yeah, it's cheap as hell, and they're there at like 2 a.m. Everybody else has been closed for 3 hours.
Yeah, I've stopped there on road trips before and been like, it's the only place open in some sleepy little town in the Carolinas.
The other thing I looked into buying, and it was actually my leading candidate because it's the job I think I'd enjoy the most. I was like, I should own a movie theater. This is pre-COVID. That would have been the biggest financial mistake of my life.
Dude, that would have been so bad. Oh, you'd have been like Randy Marsh. I don't know if you've seen this episode, but there's an episode where Randy decides to invest in Blockbuster. and he's got all the speaking points down that he clearly got from the Blockbuster salesman. Maybe he's like, studies have shown that in remote rural areas, bandwidth is not yet significant enough to provide DVD playback for customers, and therefore rental spots are still the best bang for the buck to get your video watching done. It just is. He's like, right, Randy, right. And they're all sitting, going insane in his Blockbuster. There's a ghost there. It's so old, it's haunted.
And he's like, it's not that old. He's walking around.